Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back through daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about Xinfin Network, aka XDC. So let's just dive in and let's talk about a few things. So it's been a while since I've talked to you guys a little bit about XDC, and yes, I am recording this a little bit earlier than this is going to go up, so I do apologize for price action changing. I'm still, accumulating down around like the 2 cent region. Right now, I'm not buying as we are, pumping up with the entire market. I will feel confident, buying around like the 2.5 cent zone down to like 2 cents, just because again, like I see such a bright future for XDC. We're going to be addressing it in this video. We're going to be talking about the updates that we've recently seen. That confirms my basis on not only, the new, trade finance token being extremely bullish for XDC, but also like just the sheer power behind, the network on Xinfin, and also why like XDC as a token is going to succeed. So let's just dive in and let's talk about a few things. So first off, we did see this major update from Ledger Insights talking about TradeTech. TradeTech is to, issue security tokens backed by trade finance assets on XDC public blockchain Xinfin official. TradeTech has relationships with many banks and asset managers, and yes, we're actually going to be addressing this as well. Yeah, we did see this fully confirmed by the XDC, Foundation. We do see our XDC Foundation is excited for TradeTech's launch of Trada, a fully regulated, trade finance-backed fungible, security token. And we do have this open up in a new tab. We're going to be addressing it, really, talking about it as well. But first, here is the little bit of description on it. So we do see like real economy, real companies. I don't want to play it just because like, the music and it might be copyrighted. So if you guys want to go check this out, XDC Foundation has posted this, and this is the Trada token. And we do see it like, make a difference. Again, like attractive, income, growth opportunity. Just kind of talking more so about like what could truly happen from this. Like, we've talked about a lot of these tokens, and we talk about like the future of this space. And I do think that, for the most part, I get how, frustrating it could be to think that like XDC as the token was going to power everything around like trade finance. And I think that, them pivoting within that area really kind of sparked a major debate around like the Xinfin, ecosystem, which again, I addressed myself, like we were talking about it. And I was like, is this like going to kill XDC? Like, is XDC a rug pull? Like, what's going on? Because that's what we were seeing at that time. But to me, this is going to be backed by XDC in terms of like, being sources like a liquidity source, also like settlement as well. So I think that it's actually fairly large for XDC. We've broken that down. And of course, from TradeTech, we do see this full announcement saying, TradeTech to securitize trade finance receivables on the XDC network's public blockchain. And of course, TradeTech, a World Economic Forum member, has selected the XDC network to launch Trada tokens, the first ever fully regulated trade finance-backed fungible security tokens. The move is expected to deliver, significant liquidity to the trade finance sector by securitizing a traditionally illiquid asset class on the XDC network, a public decentralized blockchain. Now, do you pay attention to what they are saying here? First off, they're talking more so about liquidity, right? The move is expected to deliver, significant liquidity to the trade finance sector, which is by, traditional standards illiquid. And the funny thing is that when we talk about, these tokens on the network, right? I know that initially everybody was like, well, the gas fees are so low, so what does this really kind of matter for XDC? Well, we are going to see very similar network effects, almost like Bitcoin, except it's going to be utility effects, where the network is going to be utilized by these major players, and we're talking about like banks, financial institutions, credit unions, etc., that are going to utilize things like this, right? Like, remember trade finance, we've talked about how it's a $19 trillion plus market in terms of like the gap that needs to be filled. This is also like a market that bleeds into everyday life around the world, especially from like, the financial standards, supply chain, stuff like that. So like to me, like demand for something like this is actually going to be fairly large. And again, like all of this will, move over the Xinfin network, aka powered by XDC, which ultimately does allow for XDC's value to, really be shown. And we do see down here like the collaboration represents the next evolution in the TradeTech and Xinfin partnership, which first introduced trade finance-based NFTs for institutional investors in September of 2021. Like the Traded launched the NFT offering used Xinfin's XDC network to transform trade finance assets into non-fungible tokens, which TradeTech repackaged and distributed to investors. Now, of course, down here, this launch is an important move in the democratization of trade finance through XDC's enterprise-grade blockchain technology by investing in trade finance, which historically has been restricted to banks and larger institutional investors. Private investors can now invest in the real economy. The XDC network is our chosen blockchain to develop this system. And XDC is the only crypto asset that can be used to purchase Trada. And of course, this is from Nils Beiling, which, by the way, we're actually going to break down a few of these individuals behind TradeTech. I think that they have a very substantial resume. We're going to be talking about it. Now, of course, down here, trade finance assets, which are based on the flow of tangible goods around the world, traditionally carry little risk and yet promise investors a steady stream of stable rewards. Despite its attractiveness as an asset class, however, trade finance is at present scarcely, if you will. Even investable due to the high barriers of entry, including poor visibility for beneficiaries, insufficient levels of collateral, and complex regulatory and supply chain procedures. XDC Tech, a new entity established to issue the Trada tokens, is set to overcome these barriers by fractionalizing and tokenizing pools of repackaged securitized trade finance assets on the XDC network. At the same time, the offering will give SMEs the world over unprecedented access to the financing on which they depend. XDC network is completely decentralized and has been optimized for enterprise applications over a period of years. As the preferred network for its token issuance, TradeTech offers further validation of the XDC network's real-world utility. And the funny thing is that when we actually talked about this, talking more so about like fractionalization through tokenization, this actually bleeds right into real estate being tokenized. It's the same exact efficiencies around that market that are going to allow for tokenization to fully be adopted in and utilized by a lot of these networks. This is also why I say like everyone should be paying attention to utility cases around NFTs and tokenization itself, because it's a very large area to focus on. Now, of course, TradeTech, we've broken down the company in the past, really kind of talked about all of the connections that it has to major like banking clients and stuff like that. But funny enough, the founders, right, Nils Beiling and also even Christoph Gugelman, I'm probably butchering their names. If I am, I apologize. But these are two individuals that have a substantial resume on why not only they are moving towards, tokenizing, trade documents, because of course they have dealt with the inefficiencies around that, first and center, but also like you could tell where they are positioned at in terms of like the banking sector to fully, not only disrupt it, but revolutionize it. And first up, we have Nils Beiling here, founder and CFO at TradeTech. We do see down here, his resume goes back to about like 2005, right? From May 2005 to September 2005, he was working at Deutsche Bank, non-performing loans in special situations. Then from there, we see, up here from 2004 to 2006, this is Whale. I hope that I'm saying that wrong or right. I'm probably saying it wrong. I apologize. But this is talking more so about, cross-border restructuring, workouts, and NPL transactions. And then, Merrill Lynch, again, director at Merrill Lynch. And then up here, again, more connections to like the financial markets through some substantial names. And, from there, we do see him focusing more so on like trade finance, going back to like 2015 to 2016, structured trade and commodity finance, emerging markets, asset management and investments, trade finance, investments and securitizations. And then, of course, he's still working at this Thames Path Capital LLP. But now, since June of 2016 to now, which has been over 6 years and 2 months, he has been really kind of working on TradeTech and building that out. And of course, Christoph Gugelman, very substantial resume from this individual, but we do see down here Goldman Sachs from 1996 to 2002, distribution and structuring. And then from there, Morgan Stanley, Financial Institutions Group. This was for like, about 2 years and 1 month. Again, Goldman Sachs, fixed income, currency and commodity head, Germany and Austria, 2004 to 2009, 5 years and 3 months. And then from there, Bank of America, EMEA, sales head fixed income, currency, and commodities for about 2 years and 11 months. And then up here, we do see a little bit more connections. Also, he has been a managing partner at Thames Path Capital. And then also, he has been, since April 2022, so 4 months, Global Innovators Community member at the World Economic Forum, and yes, he is the founder and CEO of TradeTech as well, with Nils Bailing being the founder and CFO. So again, these are substantial resumes within TradeTech that are directly connected and exposed to the banking sector, where they do know 100% the inefficiencies around this and why this is actually a very substantial use case. And more so talking about like the traded token, we actually do see like a full-on breakdown here. Like Trade is a fungible security token that is built utilizing the smart contract standard on the XDC network, a layer 1 EVM compatible blockchain. Trade offers trade finance asset class access to a broader set of investors. With more investors, SMEs, will have more access to capital. As a result, the solution is positioned to bridge the ever-widening trade finance gap, the shortfall, between bank supply of lending and businesses' demand for funding, which stands at about $1.7 trillion. Trade signals blockchain's adoption in a regulated arena and positions the XDC network as a way to connect real-world finance origination with DeFi markets. As always, XDC Foundation statements should not be interpreted as investment advice. And yeah, I think that this is pretty large. I think that this not only solidifies where XDC is positioned at as a token on the Xinfin network, but also where Xinfin network is positioned. And again, like a few quotes here from like Andre Kasserman, which again, we've discussed Andre Kasserman multiple times in the past. Through the traded token, trade finance assets are now accessible through the public decentralized XDC network. This signals the start of a shrinking trade finance gap, as SMEs can benefit from new sources of funding, such as retail and institutional investors. This innovation, powered by both TradeTech and the XDC network, contributes to the vision of TFDI, which is to make trade finance an liquid investment class, which again, very substantial. And of course, we do see like from Christoph Gugelman, the launch of its traded token on the XDC network, heralds a way of interest in next generation, regulatory compliant security tokens and institutional DeFi. The XDC network has a proven track record for its performance and security and is the premium blockchain choice for trade finance asset activity. I'm very, very excited, to say the least, for the future of XDC and Xinfin. Like I said, they are perfectly positioned to fully disrupt trade finance, and it's ever so clear where we are headed within this industry. From a lot of these assets doing like major, like for an example, like these are just assets, right? But when we look at the teams behind them, like the XDC Foundation and the Xinfin network, if you will, like they have been making massive moves, massive connections, and huge partnerships around the world. Like this is what we want to see. And I've said it time and time again that this is what you actually want to see from a company. I know that everybody thought that this traded token, was going to be a very bad move for, them around like XDC. Like everybody thought that XDC as a token was basically useless at that point. But this solidifies the fact that not only will XDC be, utilized as a liquidity source and also settlement, source, but it's also going to derive value just from all of the, volume that is going to be pushed onto the XDC network. So I'm very excited for this. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, though. If you guys did enjoy the video, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys have more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, up to you all. Have a beautiful day or beautiful night, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. It's been Nick. Peace out, guys.